Alright guys, Supreme Comment here, and today we are going to be taking a look at the number 9 build project material. So this month around we are going to be getting the new Gundam HWS and then Char's Aznable for the build project palette. So quite a fitting pair, I would say. So as far as what you need to know, so hi new Gundam, or new Gundam, excuse me. The only thing that I would pretty much say right now, even before looking at any of the part, the back part is definitely a must-have because this is the only EX skill currently in game that actually blocks anything. So this one, you know, with the duration of the Inferno Barrier, you are able to block a lot of things. You're blocking your Astral Drop, you're blocking your Rolling Busters, and you're blocking much more. So this one is definitely going to be a top pick. If you want to take 0 damage for the duration, this one is definitely a must-have. As far as Char's Aznable, the only thing that I would say is if you really want him as a pilot, he's definitely a very good pick. But as far as the portrait and just the word tag conditions, I don't really think he's like the top one to be looking at. But let's take a look at it closely at the alternative version so you guys can see what's going on. I just feel like for melee pilots, we just have better things, right? So we filter by pilots, we filter, I think that should be it, right? As far as Chars, he's gonna be right here. His stat line is actually just not great because like they gave him pretty much zero defense. Like look at that, only 850. So that's honestly it's just not cutting it. So as far as the vortex conditions, look at that, or the portrait, excuse me, look at that. You want to be using Xeon, so unless you guys are like a diehard fan for Xeon, you must have to use it despite any of the circumstances, then go for it. But other than that, if you're talking about just relevancy, this one is definitely not it. This one, if they would have made high firepower, then great, that's good. But Xeon is just like one of those tags that do you really want to use it? It still works. It's just that we don't have that support needed. So until we get like a few good selections that has Xeon as a main war tags, then okay, then this one is good. But other than that, this one is purely just not gonna be good. And oh, one more thing, P attribute only. So that's kind of like double the restriction, right? So yeah, this one, if you purely want just Chars, then go for it. I know he's like a really iconic character, so just having him as, maybe you want to use it for the voice acting or the voice actor when you're playing or whatever. But other than that, I feel like if you want Char, I think another option is so you guys can take a look at the standard version, because I believe we have a Char counter attack version that is not the military uniform, but that one should be under just the battle uniform, like the normal suits, like that version of it. So I think they might have the same sports character, I think. But if you want this version, this one also works as well. So, but I just don't feel like it's a good. It doesn't feel good enough, right? Compared to some of your other upcoming build project pilots, especially for melee. But as far as the new Gundam, let's take a look right now. I would say all the other parts has kind of fallen just a little bit, but I mean it is a free 7-star parts, so kind of do take a look at it at your own discretion and stuff. So where is it at? Is it this one? Okay, so it is the MSV version. So let's start things off with the head part. So coincidentally, the new Gundam HWS version, this one actually has one of the higher armor back in the good old days. Like I'm talking about last year. This one has some peak armor that they roll out. This was like the highest one we have seen. But in today's meta, you see any part ranging from like 9,000 armor to like I want to say roughly about 12,000. That's pretty much like the bare minimum that we see nowadays, because that's kind of like a way for them to balance out, quote unquote. Because if you have higher armor, and then if they apply like the background armor multiplier, it's gonna be insanely hard to kill enemies. So this one is actually not bad. Granted, what we had way back, this is a very good exception because you have some shooting power boosted, and they also do have energy charge boosted by 20%. This one was a very good one to look at if you want to diversify out instead of using, I believe it was like your melee weapon, having the industry charge or your ranged weapon, this one is a very solid option. But in today's meta, you guys do know that 25% is definitely 25 to that 30% is definitely that good range. Because I say that because if we take a look at portrait level 1, we are starting out at 6%. Things that we have nowadays that are up to 30%, they start things out at 20%. So as far as the investment for anybody, like I don't care if you're like a whale, I don't care if you're like a free to play, it's just so much easier for everyone. So these types, I feel like they're just not that great anymore. And if you just want the new Gundam as like the headpiece as the aesthetics, I feel like you can definitely go for, let's say, the SoCal version of it. So that one is you can pick it up with the 300 hard chips, 5-star pick tickets if you do want that. I just don't feel like this one is a good option. Just simply the percentage is way too low than what we know from today. So going over to now the torso. Torso is going to be another one of those EXQ that kind of fly or is going to launch kind of like an overhead type style. So this one is very reminiscent to, let's say, the Lightning Gundam back part EXQ. So it's pretty much going to shoot over your unit and then onto the enemy. So if your enemy is, let's say, literally right in front of you, you don't get that direct, linear direction attacking. So this one is very situational. It's definitely really good for long range, but close range I'll definitely use some other one. So is this one good to pick up? Probably not either, just because let's say looking at these kind of vortex are not really exceptional for a ranged build. Heavy armor, yes, this kind of boosts range attack, but I mean, like, just given the selection we have nowadays, doesn't really favor heavy armor all that much. This tags definitely needs some buffs eventually. Until it does, this one is probably not gonna be the best pick. Standard, this one is still quite good. Almost 6k for your shot attack is very respectable. 7,000 for your shot defense is actually pretty good as well. But it's just the EXQ, and then the vortex does have its as a downfall. So I would not be picking the arm part, or I will not be picking the torso here. So now looking at the arm is going to be another piece that you may not want to kind of pick up. First thing first, looking at the shot attack, 6k is actually quite respectable. But once we get down to the shot defense, you're just going to be asking yourself this question: where is my shot defense at? So yeah, this one is not going to be that great once you use the conversion gear, because this one is only going to be pumping out a fairly minimal amount to your shot attack. So this one is definitely no. Up next, the portrait is honestly just bad. Like, this is the problem. They make these, like, build project back last year when you had to really summon for them, and these are the type of portrait they give. Like, critical rate up, are you kidding me? Like, crit doesn't really do anything as far as like we concerned right now. It does not grant you additional damage. Like, it does not give you higher damage if you land a crit attack. So what is the point? Even at type, let's say when you type fighting type disadvantage, you don't even get an attack out either. So crit is just one of those mechanics. It's just like, why does it even exist? So this one is just gonna be another skip for me. Moving over to the leg, let's see if we can see anything that's better. Okay, so this one, so these are the portrait that we don't see too often last year around, but we're talking about this calendar year, we have seen a bunch of these, and this one is just not good. So yeah, this portrait we have seen numerous times already, and we have gotten better ones already. So this one maxed out at 20%, right? So you're starting out at 6%, right? Yeah. But if we take a look at something that's a little bit more updated, let's say the High New Gundam, that one is starting at 18% on the first slot, like portrait level 1. And that one you can do it twice, because both traits are actually going to be under that 18 or that EXQ cooldown. So these are just really outdated. It's just not worth that investment. If you're like a free to play player, these are not the way to go, because you're gonna have to put a lot of resources into upgrading these to portrait level 10, max it at 20%. So this is just not a good option. Stat wise on this one is actually not that great. Only 4,000 and then 5,000 for the shot defense. So not really gonna be cutting it, but the armor is pretty decent in a way. But let's move on to the backpack. Backpack, you guys already know this one is probably one of the better part of the set, despite a stat that is kind of given right here. It's just this one. just a very unique portrait or EXQ that we have not really gotten from any other unit. So I mean, like, until they make like a free-to-play unit or like a static unit that has this mechanics, for as far as we're concerned right now, this is going to be one of the better one as far as defensive type. So this one is going to be a must-have for sure. Moving over to the actual ranged weapon, we have the Hyper Mega Rifle. So this one, what is it doing? This one is actually just gonna be another one that's not too good. Reason being because you do have to be using heavy armor 100% of the time, and you also do only have it for the torso EXQ, so that is definitely not playing right to your other EXQ on your other slots. So that's why this one is not really that pick. But if you talk about you're like a free-to-play player, you want a very high stats, you know, 7-star that give you these one of a stat, you can definitely go for it. It's definitely not bad. It's just that the portrait is just actually not too sufficient in terms of what we're looking at today. So probably do need a better portrait to kind of subside to it. But other than that, I feel like the stat is, you know, still doing jobs. It's still definitely making that, you know, that bare minimum for you guys. So I would not be bothered if you guys want to pick this one. So type wise could be a little bit, you know, wonky. It does have heavy armor unfortunately, but Ace exclusive definitely does make things really good for it. Last but not least, we do have the shield. We have the high mega shield. So this one is nothing too crazy. Now this one does have EXQ, the high caliber mega particle cannon. So this one is pretty much something that we have seen from, I believe is the high new Gundam HWS version. So it's pretty much the same thing. It's going to be launching a beam attack from your shield, so nothing too crazy. Stat and this one is actually quite low as well, so I will not really go for it unless you don't really have any other choices. Then definitely go for it. But other than that, as far as this build project unit, there's just a lot of parts that I feel like if you take a look at today's standards, it's just not going to be that great. But I do know not everyone's going to have those really meta part, if you will. So if you do want to pick any of these over here, definitely do pick the back part first. Definitely really good. As far as things that pertains to the portrait, like the head part, if you feel like you don't really care, like you just want to have a, you know, 7-star all tradable build project head part, then go for it. I'm just going to tell you guys, the portrait is just not worth investing given what we have in today's meta and such. Same things go for the beam rifle. But other than that, if you simply want to collect a few other parts for the aesthetics, definitely go for it. Kind of granted what we have now, maybe you do want to go ahead and pick up a Char Aznable for the collection purposes as well, just because just not a lot of these parts are really worth mentioning in a way. But other than that, I guess up next, let's try out the back part as far as the fin berry, just to show you guys how it works. And then we'll also try out the torso EXQ so you guys do know what exactly it looks like. Alright, so we are going to be trying this out under my own creative mission. So I did kind of have things kind of set around how I want it. But you guys will definitely see that once we pop the fin berry, we are not going to be taking a lot of damage. We're pretty much not going to be taking any damage at all, except for custom EXQs. Those are pretty much going to be something that you cannot block. But let's hop in now and see. Just gonna be showing you guys how it works. All right, so we are in. So just gonna wait. I'm gonna purposely take some attack first, so you guys can see that we are indeed taking damage, and then we'll see. Right. All right. So pretty much 1 damage. All right. So custom EXQ, I don't think we should be. Yeah. So we are taking a little bit of damage, but it's not that much, so that's fine. All right. So let me try this. So that's pretty much how the shield EXQ looks like. So nothing too crazy. So this is pretty much going to be something that you see on any other shield that does like any of those beam attacks. As far as the actual shoulder, the torso EXQ, that's how it looks like. So yeah, that's gonna pretty. Oh wow, it actually canceled my attacks. Wow, that's kind of crazy. All right. Alright, once again, so it kind of gives you like a good animation overall, but essentially this EXQ is gonna do like a kind of like an over the head type EXQ type of stuff, so you're not gonna be able to get anyone that's like standing right on top of you like that. So alright, so let me activate this right now. So you guys, oh, so that kind of blocks it. Luckily we blocked it. But you guys can see now, I'm not even showing any of the damage markers, so that is essentially how it looks like when you have the shield popped up. So I'm gonna see if the Sasabi, or not the Sasabi, So melee attack you still goes through. So let me see if the yeah, okay. Go at 9 go attack like that. You guys can see that. You pretty much cannot block that. So any custom EXQ they go right through. So don't even try to think you can block it in EXQ because you cannot. But other than that, that's pretty much all I have to show you guys. Now these are pretty much all the EXQ that you will be able to find within the new Gundam HWS version. But yeah, other than that, that's gonna be pretty much it for me, and then I'll be catching you guys on the next one.